My entire sales process is inbound. So I don't do outbound, I don't pitch.
The world is changing fast, and for the successful professionals wanting an exit strategy from the corporate world, Mariya Valeva, my guest today, will share this with us. Mariya moved to the US at age 19 with just $300 and a suitcase, and today she is the CFO to 5 companies at once. Before we get into it, I'm Filipova. I quit my 25 years banking career to find financial and personal freedom. This is Change is Possible podcast, where I talk to people to help you do the same thing. This is Mariya Valeva. Let's talk about how you find your clients. I mean, what do you do? Is there a sales process, or how do you nurture the relationships? How do you find and nurture the relationships so you can at one point pitch your services?
So I mentioned that when I was giving you a little bit the backstory of my own journey, but my entire sales process is inbound. So I don't do outbound. I don't pitch. I kind of build my content strategy around every piece of insight, every piece of knowledge that I share and been sharing for a year and a half now. They are the only ways in which I attract clients. And I did that very intentionally early on. When I started the business, I said, I'm just going to get out of my comfort zone, and I'm going to actually create a brand that I believe in, that has value behind what I'm doing. And it's really driven by 2 things, by my of course, professional history and just like capabilities and domains that I own and what I have done. But the other side is also the personal side with what do I and how do I differentiate myself in the space, because that is at the end of the day also something that a lot of fractionals struggle with. There's just so much, and then how do we know that's the right fit. But first and foremost for me was building a personal brand, being incredibly cringe at the beginning, because I didn't know how to create the content, like how to speak about even finance, because it's a very dry topic. It's sometimes can get very educational, and you scroll, and it's just, another a line of content that exists out there. So for me, it was starting that, finding my voice, finding a way in which I can relate to the pain points of my ideal ICP, defining my ideal ICP, which is basically the persona, the client persona that I would like to serve. And then from there was ways such as I said, one side is, for me, the main medium is LinkedIn, then creating my newsletter, and then pretty much driving that insight over time. And when a founder is in that inflection point, when they are ready to receive help, because that's also very important, then they reach out directly to acquire how I work and kind of like the value they get out of it.
Yeah. No, absolutely. So you said that you started posting on LinkedIn, right? When was that?
It was in September of 2024.
2024. And how many followers did you
I
have
had
then?
under 1,000.
Oh, and now today you have how
Close
many?
to 35,000.
Wow, amazing. And you've done this with just content that you create yourself. Do you have somebody to support you, or you're doing the content
At this
yourself?
point, I have someone that helps me just think through topics. It's more like, think of it as research of finding much more interesting case studies,
Okay.
but all the content is created and kind of validated by me.
Okay, amazing. So absolutely, and I have. I also started my journey on LinkedIn, and basically everything I do, all the clients, everything comes from that, and YouTube a little bit. Now that my channel is a bit bigger, I have 30,000 subscribers. Now some people on LinkedIn come and say, "Oh, I watched your video and I came to see what you're posting on LinkedIn." It's a very interesting thing to realize. Oh my goodness! So people discovered me on YouTube. So it's very very important. I completely agree with you, and I work with professionals who my ideal ICPs are professionals who are in corporate life and they want to change this and start something else, their own business or become a fractional or just have a portfolio career, I mean, several income streams. And they all, when it comes to personal brand, everybody's cringing. No, I cannot write about myself. I cannot. It's every single. I was the same also in the beginning. I was just like, oh God, this is what I'm going to write. But that becomes part of your life and day. So it becomes, it's your distribution
Absolutely.
network.
I think that
As
is the
simple as
biggest
that.
part. It's basically you're building your distribution, and I think it's very easy to say, yes, we are at X amount of followers, which followers means honestly nothing. It's just it's
Yeah,
it's just a projection of how much consistency you have built, because as you said in the beginning, it's
yeah,
extremely hard to put yourself out there. And it's because you are
yeah,
putting yourself out there, being seen by ex bosses, former colleagues, and now out of nowhere you appear every single day. And I go back actually
yeah,
to my September October post of 2024, and it's very painful for me, believe me. But then it's just a testimonial in a sense of how much I have grown and how much I have, at the moment that I'm at, learn to use my voice, because I think that was another part. It's
yeah,
part of this topic that we discussed, like moving from employee to a business owner in a sense, and having the permission, right, to tell the story of how you navigate your career right now, whichever way it looks
yeah,
like. And it's done.
yeah,
It's done. I think it's done miracles in a sense. Don't want to sound dramatic, but in a more practical way, to
yeah,
your point, it's the most beautiful distribution channel and channels that you can create across the board.
yeah,
Because a lot of people would think, well, um, you just can do a lot of outbound. But that's also me. I do not like selling. I don't like selling. Even back in my role, if you put me on a sales call, it will basically, I will get the best deal out of anybody, but I cannot do the other way around. So for me, again, it was very intentional.
yeah,
How do I start this and make it scalable and enjoyable for myself? And outlet was a big kind of growing pain. That was the way.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, creating content every day and being out there is a form of selling anyway. So, because you basically are talking about, are sharing your thoughts, things that you've discovered, things that you researched, and you're sharing with other people. And that's sort of soft selling, right?
It is. It
It
is a
is.
form of selling. It just really depends on how you create the content. And I have gone through just like yourself. We have gone through a lot of testing and experimentation. Some
Yeah,
topics works, other topics don't work. Some forms works, other forms
yeah,
doesn't work. And I think when you get to a place where whichever content you're delivering, there is a value that you get to a
yeah,
place, somebody reads the post and say, wow, I just learned something, I educated myself on something, or I never thought about this that way. The more and more you do it, it's more like psychological. The more and more you prime your potential client to reach out at a certain point of time when they're ready, and that's very important.